This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, but the star of today's show is the Thrustmaster MFD Cougar Pack. That's 2 MFD displays in one box. And before I get to the review, let me just tell you how we got to this review. I do a lot of flight sims on the side, and one day I was switching my rig back from flying mode into driving mode, and I decided I'd leave one of these displays up on my rig and go ahead and map it and see how it worked out. Well, I used it in a video. A bunch of you asked me about it, asked what it was, thought, that's an unusual button box, and you're right. And so that's what led to today's display. The MFD Cougar Pack was produced for the flight sim market. The MFD Cougar Pack is a pair of panels that replicate the displays in an F-16 jet. Each panel has 20 buttons and 4 switches for a total of 48 programmable buttons for the pair. Each button and switch is backlit, and the brightness can be adjusted within the software that's applied. The panels are made of plastic and include a hinge-type foot for the base. The angle is adjustable and can be locked down with plastic knobs. For further sturdiness, there are legs that allow for completely locked down angles of 39, 54, and 72 degrees. You can completely remove the foot and mount the panel to anything, including over a display, utilizing the empty middle to create a realistic F-16 display. The MFD Cougar also comes with inserts that resemble a real display, but more importantly are labeled for predetermined functions when playing flight sim games. There are also a couple of generic looking ones that you could fill in yourself, and then you could always write on the back of any of them if you wanted to. The Thrustmaster MFD Cougar Pack goes for about $70 and includes both panels. Now, for the purpose of this review, I want to focus on the sim racing aspects of this as a button box. I wouldn't even call it a button box when comparing it to others that I've tried in the past as a sim racer. But with that said, I still want to focus on the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good. Now again, I mentioned it's $70 for the panels. That's cheap. 2 for 1. Whether this means giving one to a friend or having 2 sets of buttons, it's a good thing. Adjustable backlighting is great for dialing it into your sim room. They take up very little space. As gimmicky as they are, I like the pre-printed cards for flight sim, and making custom ones for driving is fun and can be a great way to label your buttons. And lastly, they're easy to mount, lightweight, and they take up very little space. Now onto the not so good. There's very little or no feedback to the buttons. You don't hear or feel much of a click. No realism when compared to automotive-looking button boxes. The desk feet grippers are inadequate. The hinged part also doesn't lock it down well enough for pressing as a racer, so you're going to want to use those legs at those set angles. Now onto the bottom line. You can actually call this an accident that worked out great. I never even thought of using something like this as a button box, but when I did, once I made my own background, got everything mapped, it turned out great. For me, I think this is enough buttons, which means I probably have this one as a backup, or I could give it to a friend, or I could map other controls that I haven't even thought of yet. The other thing I'll mention is the low profile design makes it very easy to mount anywhere on your rig. And that makes it somewhat unique when compared to other button boxes. For me, since I do a lot of driving, I do a little bit of flying and other gaming, this actually worked out to be the perfect solution for switching back and forth between games or different sims or different genres, depending on how you want to look at it. So ultimately, I hope you liked this review. It wasn't one I even thought I was going to be doing. If you have any questions about the MFD or anything else we've ever covered, feel free to comment on this video at our website or contact me directly at sean@thesimpit.com, and I'll be sure to answer your questions, maybe even cover it on a future show. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.